away, fellas.
Thank you, voice girl, and welcome once again to another edition of the Manspace Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, he's not here. He's actually on the run after giving a raccoon some liquor from the liquor store. But don't fret, Manspace Nation. I am not alone. I do have a special guest that is joining me here today. He is a seasoned public relations and crisis communication strategist, a corporate ghostwriter, and an award-winning novelist. His debut mystery, The Bystander, won the Page Turner Award and was longlisted for the BPA First Novel Award, and also became a Story Trade Book Award finalist. So when he is not crafting novels or solving fictional crimes, he's out fishing, talking politics, or cheering on his beloved Florida Gators. Can't like everything about this guy. But Manspace Nation, please give a welcome to my guest, Mr. John David. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate the introduction, and I can take it. So that's good. I appreciate it. I knew what I was up against as soon as I saw your background.
That's right. The beloved Alabama.
I made sure to adjust my the guy over my shoulder here. So
I see your gator back there,
looking fierce in the right direction. So.
But I don't dislike Florida. So they had their time, and they were quite good for a good while. And one day, they're gonna get back to that level.
We hope, right? There's always next year. That's our
right.
motto.
That's the motto. There's always next year.
Yeah, no, that was listen, I went through I've been a University of Florida fan. I went to school there in the 1980s, and it was a dark, bleak time then. So I've been through several, of the hills and the valleys of college sports fandom. So I get it. And we're hopefully on a, heading up, we're at the bottom of a trough heading up now. We'll see.
Right. So speaking of college football, the biggest story is not my beloved Alabama Crimson Tide beating Auburn. It's Lane Kiffin. And this has just become a nightmare of a public relations situation. I mean, at Ole Miss, now at LSU, with the NCAA in general, just him personally, it's a whole nightmare of a situation. How, as a public relations strategist, would you handle this situation? Let's start from the Ole Miss side, because you have players that are now coming out and saying that some of the things that Lane said, where he told the players he wanted to stay and they wanted him to stay, is not true. How would you handle that from the Ole Miss side of it?
Well, thanks for the question, and I am absolutely as qualified as anybody to talk about this, because I'm a college football junkie, and I've thought about this a little bit. So first we'll take the big picture, and I think one thing here is that Ole Miss, they know what they got, right? They knew what they had.
Right.
This guy, this is not off brand for him, right? So anybody who says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe Lane Kiffin behaved the way he behaved," they're not paying attention. I don't want to take credit for this. Colin Cowherd, I don't know if you listen to his show at all, his radio show. It's on Fox. He hit it right. I heard he was talking about this yesterday or the day before, and he said that if you marry a rock star, you can't be surprised when they go on tour for 6 months.
Right.
And and you can't be surprised by the behavior that happens, right? And the reality here is that Lane Kiffin is who he is. He's a diva. I mean, that's who the guy is. He was kind of masquerading as a normal person for a few years at Ole Miss and a couple years at FAU, but he's a
Right.
diva, and he's
Yeah.
behaving like a diva, and that's what's going on now. Ole Miss, I think they tried to do all the right things from a communication
Mhm.
standpoint, um, but they were dealing with an untenable situation because I don't think that Lane Kiffin. I think he's the villain here. I mean, I just think that's the
Yeah.
way it is. I think that there's no it's a perfect match because he's a villain. I don't know how you guys feel about him at Alabama, but we were not fans of him of his at Florida until he was a candidate to be our coach. We weren't in
Right.
love with him. Um, Primarily because of what he did when he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, to us. But it's now sort of like the natural order of things is back the way it should be. Everybody's hating Lane Kiffin, but the thing is he really strung along Ole Miss,
Right.
and had as I thought about this earlier today, what I realized is that and just follow me on this because I'm not sure if how clear I'm being on this, but his last message that he gave here should have been his first message. His last message was Ole Miss made the decision that they thought was best for them,
Mhm.
and I complied with it. That's what he should have led with. He should have led with, "Listen, I'm leaving, I'm going to another school, right? And if you want me to hang around and coach, if we make the SEC title game, I'll hang around. If we make the playoff, I'll hang around. If we don't, then it's up to you. I'm willing to stick around, but
Yeah.
if not, not." But the problem is that he's a diva, and
Yeah.
he wanted what he wanted. He wanted both. He
Mhm.
wanted both. He wanted whatever. He wanted both steaks, right? He wanted both
Yeah.
pieces of pie, both pieces of cake. He
Mhm.
wanted it. He wanted it all. And Ole Miss, I think rightfully, I mean, anybody who's ever had a job, you quit your job, you're going to go quit your job,
Yeah.
work for the company across the street. Yeah, maybe in some industries you give a couple weeks notice, but for the most part,
Mhm.
it's like, listen, you're not work for me anymore. You're working for the competitor. So,
Right. Right.
listen, out you go.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna run you out of town on a rail, but you're not, you gotta move on, man. You made the
Yeah.
call. And
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss, they did the best they could, but they got
Mhm.
strung along,
Mhm.
during this whole thing, and they, now they're trying their best to kind of clean up the mess.
Right. Yeah, if you look at it from the LSU side and with him coming in, you look at how the media and everybody on social media is vilifying their new coach. How do you spin it from a public relations standpoint to make kids want to even come and play there? Because we know money talks, right? They're gonna get kids just because A, it's LSU, but B, money is gonna pull them in. But on the other side of it, it's like, how trustworthy is this guy? I don't want to play for him. He's a liar. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
That's certainly a concern. I think LSU, I think they're ecstatic. I think they're ecstatic. They got the guy they want. They got the guy they think is a great coach, and they think they've got a winner, and
Mhm.
everybody wants to win. And student athletes are, who are less and less student athletes every minute. And
Right.
I think we're going to find out. We're going to see some interesting things about recruiting. I can come back to that in a minute, in a second on that. But the the folks at LSU, they're happy. They got their guy, and they're selling. They're selling the dream that
Yeah.
they believe they've always had the best players, and now they think they got the best coach. So they're gonna go and they're probably telling recruits. They're giving them the LeBron speech, not one championship, two, three, four,
Right.
the whole thing, the
Right.
LeBron decision, which
Not
was the
four,
most,
not
well, most,
five. Right.
yeah, yeah, which was which was probably the only, you know, big move like this that
Right.
eclipsed this one, right? LeBron's decision
Yeah.
will always be the biggest of the big. But I think that's that. Um, what's different now, though, I think and this is like outside the PR guy realm. It's just that I think these players who are, the players that who were at these schools, not the recruits, but the players, they're all locked in with these NIL deals, and they're,
Right.
so it's not really simple for them to just pick up and go, right? That's number one. And then the recruits, you didn't see this huge migration of recruits, on signing day, which was yesterday.
Right.
Because I think all these players had these deals in place where it's like, okay, you're gonna come down, you're gonna go to Alabama, and
Right.
you're gonna get this amount of money, and that's the deal. And unless you another school comes along and says we're going to give you that exact same deal, you're probably not just going to jump. I mean, and again, the schools that have continuity, Alabama's got continuity, got the same coach, there, and I think Florida is a really interesting example of that too, because Florida did a pretty good job of retaining its class.
Right.
And I don't think it's because Florida did anything special. I think it's just because of the contractual nature and the money at play, that anybody who is committed to Florida, like, they had a deal on the table, and Florida wasn't pulling it back. They're going, if you sign with us, this is what you're going to get.
Right.
Like, now that's what you're going to get here, no matter who the coach is. So I think that's why you didn't see a ton of movement in that regard. So
now let's look at it from the NCAA standpoint. It's overall a mess. And how would you look at if the president of the NCAA comes up and says, John, help me fix this situation? What would you do?
I think you have to just be I think they have to be completely open and transparent about what's going on. And what's going on is that this has become a semi-professional sport,
Yeah.
and there's a reason why they moved the signing day up. Like, everyone says, oh, we should push the signing day back. Well, they moved the signing day up because they wanted to get the players into the system early, right? So that they can go. So you get a stud wide receiver coming into Alabama. I don't know if you probably do. I don't know who it is, but
yeah, we have a couple.
Sure, there's a couple of stud. So you got this stud wide receiver coming into Alabama, and you have an opportunity to bring him in January, right?
Right.
And coach him up and put him in the weight room and get him at the training table and make sure make sure his grades are good, and make sure everything's make sure he's moved into his dorm room, and he's hanging around all the right people and all this stuff. You got 8 months to do that. And then, but if you wait till June, you got 2 months to do that, or 3 months to do that. Right. So they've moved, they've changed the schedule. So, and I think that's the big problem, is that they were able to push the transfer portal thing back, but they've painted themselves into a bit of a corner. And I think they just have to realize, like, this is, unfortunately, this is going to happen. And what the NCAA is probably saying now is, like, this is a unique circumstance. This is a once in a generation type of thing, because of who Kiffin is. Because I think it wouldn't have been as big of a deal if it was somebody else. I think the diva in him made this thing way worse than it had to be. And that's how I would be. That's how I would be saying it behind closed doors if I was the NCAA.
Yeah, I think the one thing that a lot of people miss, because I've heard all week, like, oh, well, all you got to do is move the date back. The season doesn't end till early January. You shouldn't be able to talk to the other schools. You shouldn't be able to transfer or do all this other stuff until after the school year. I mean, after the season ends. But the school year is ending, like, right now. I mean, there's students in finals right now. And come right after Christmas break, you start a new semester. So you want the kids to start the semester. This, unfortunately, because of NCAA greed and network greeds and pushing out this playoff system, the playoffs don't end until mid-January.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. No, they solved part of it when they moved the transfer portal date into into January, right? That was a big deal. And they changed the rule that if your coach gets fired, that the players can transfer immediately.
Right.
Florida fired its coach a week after they changed that rule. So
Right.
But I think I don't see a simple solution, and the idea of like just changing the dates, it's not going to happen because of what I described to you a minute ago. There's too much invested in getting these guys, and at the same time, if I'm a top recruit, right, and I'm going to Alabama, what do I want? What do I want? I want my money, man. I want my money. I want my NIL money. I want to go. I want to go buy my car. I want to go buy a car. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go get my, whatever it is that a young person really wants with some extra cash. That's what they're not. That's exactly why they moved it up. So it's a whole. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Mess.
So, lastly, with that. What would you tell Lane right now to do?
I think I don't see Lane as being the kind of guy who listens to many people. I would say, because here's the thing, I think Lane's credibility is gone and shot, because he kind of had this, he was trying to sell this bill of goods that he was a changed man, and that he was no longer, that he no longer, was behaving like a supermodel and all this. And that's gone. That image of him being, oh yeah, no, he's found his family and he's changed and all these other stuff.
Yeah.
It may still be true, but nobody's buying. So for him, I would just stick my head down and coach football. And I would just, that's what I would do. And I would tell him to, have fun, but lay off trolling people until till the season starts or something. Just get yourself just stick with ball, man, and do what you're doing, and that's that, and I'd take his phone away if I could, tell him not to on Twitter and stuff. Impossible, but
stay off social media, Lane, and stay out of girls' DMs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's I think that's a whole that's a slippery slope. But I think for him I think, put your head down and coach football. I think that would be what my advice to him would be. And I wouldn't, it's all going to come around. I mean, they got to go. LSU's got to go to Ole Miss. He's going to play all these teams. He's going to get, all the signs outside the fraternity houses are going to be great. It's going to be fun. Everyone's, the guy everybody loves to hate. Lots of people, who really knew nothing about him from all around the country outside the SEC, now hate him. So he's going to be public enemy number one for a while.
And it's amazing because you look at these other schools like Florida getting a new coach, Auburn getting a new coach, there's none of this backlash is happening with any of these other programs, any of these other coaches, because of how it was handled. And when you look at those other schools, none of them are in the situation of being in the playoffs. You have a chance to win a national championship. And you go back to Alabama when he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He took another job and basically got fired the week of the national championship game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he needed to go recruit.
Florida hired John Sumrall, who's a coach at Tulane, and he's got a playoff game tomorrow. The conference championship game tomorrow, and they have a shot. Tulane has a shot to make it into the CFP.
Make it in, right?
And Florida and Tulane have come to the agreement that if Tulane gets into the CFP, Florida's gonna says okay, go coach the CFP. Yeah. Now he's not Tulane is not a rival of Florida in any other way. And so, but I think that had Kiffin said, right from the beginning, if he wasn't so coy about it, if he made a decision he's going to leave, right? And he made it clear to LSU, I'm leaving. I would love to stay and coach the team, beyond the regular season if there is such a thing for us. But it's up to you. Let me know. I'm happy to do it if you're okay with me doing it. And I think had he said that, there's a chance, there's a chance that it could have been, there could be a different outcome. But there's also a big chance that they would have said, nope, there's the door. So, but I think that's where he got that. I think that's where he got himself in trouble.
Yeah. I honestly believe that it really comes back to the Alabama-Auburn game. And that if Auburn would have pulled off the upset and beat Alabama, he would have stayed because Ole Miss would have gone to the SEC championship game in that scenario. And that's why I think he kept waiting and waiting and waiting to give his decision. And he waited till after that game was over to make his decision. That's my belief. Because
it's possible. It's possible. There's a lot of scuttlebutt. There's a lot of scuttlebutt. He
never beat Alabama.
Yeah, there's a lot of scuttlebutt that these deals were all basically done before Thanksgiving.
True.
But I don't know.
True.
It's all
there is a good possibility of that, but you look at his career, he's never beaten Alabama, and he's like, man, I don't schedule him this year, and I still can't beat Alabama. Let me go somewhere else, and start over. But we are going to take a quick break. And no, we're not going to take a break. We're going to play a quick game.
Okay.
And that game is called Lightning Round.
Lightning Round.
I'm terrified of this.
So this time we're going to do it just a little bit differently than we normally do. So this is going to be, since we're coming off of Thanksgiving, this is going to be our Thanksgiving edition. And I'm going to throw out an item that can be found on many plates during Thanksgiving. And you're going to say gas if you like it, if you want it on your plate, or trash if you don't.
What's the yes? The yes vote is what?
The yes is gas.
Gas or trash?
Gas or trash.
Okay.
So gas is a go. I want it. Put it on my plate.
I can handle this.
If you don't want it, it's trash. You're going to have 60 seconds. There'll be some music in the background, and we will get this thing started.
Okay.
Let me know when you are ready.
I'm ready. I got food I can do.
All right. Let's get this music going. All right. So, cranberry sauce.
Trash.
Sweet potato casserole with marshmallows.
Gas, but mine without sweet potato. Mine with pecans on top is better.
Okay. Green bean casserole.
Trash.
Oh, wow. Stuffing.
Gas. Foot to the floor. Gas.
Mashed potatoes.
Gas all the way.
Roasted Brussels sprouts.
Gas. Before and after. Yeah.
Corn pudding.
Gas. These are all on my list.
Okay, collard greens.
Oh, gas. I wish I had those in my house on last Thanksgiving. I wish I knew how to make them. Pumpkin pie, gas.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big Thanksgiving guy. So that one's easy. I don't I'm like a couple of Brussels sprouts. Like I don't crave them, but like I'll eat. I'm good with a couple of them just because when they get all juiced up and everything, people mix all kinds of crazy stuff in them, bacon, grease, and all that.
Yeah.
But
I just did that tonight. So
yeah. But we do big Thanksgiving at my house, and all those things are on the menu. Yeah. So
let me ask you this: how long do you keep the leftovers before you just finally say, okay, enough's enough?
It's just for me. It depends. I mean, there's still some pumpkin pie in my refrigerator because we had like a whole pie and nobody ate it, and it's not on my diet. And I stare at it and I go, "This can't be in the house. I gotta like get this out of the house." So it's still in the house, but everything else went yesterday because Thursday is garbage day at my house. So today's Thursday. So yesterday it went in because everything else went. It's just like
Wednesday is garbage day for me. So
so there it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, wait a minute. I'm being told that we got some breaking news.
Good evening, folks. I'm Big Les, bringing you breaking news from WTMS TV, where the news is real, but my hair is absolutely not. We interrupt your day with a crisis unfolding downtown. A squirrel, yes, a squirrel, has stolen a glazed donut and is currently holding it hostage atop a traffic light. Police attempted negotiations, but the squirrel just kept licking the frosting and flipping officers off with its tiny paws. Witnesses report it's the most disrespectful squirrel in city history. Officials urge the public to remain calm and avoid offering the squirrel more pastries, as it's already way too hyped. I'll keep you updated as this story develops, or until the squirrel crashes from the sugar high. I'm Big Les. This has been WTMS TV Breaking News. Stay alert and hide your donuts.
We are back here on the Man Space Podcast with our special guest, Mr. John David. Now, I do have some questions for you. I too would like to write a book one day. I've got a couple of things that I've got in the works. But what would you advise an aspiring writer to when it comes to trying to get a book out there?
So what kind of book are we talking about? Are we talking about a nonfiction book, or are we talking about a fiction book?
Well, I'm actually working on one of both. So, so let's look at nonfiction.
Okay. So I've written both. So I wrote a nonfiction business book, came out about in 2016 about online reputation issues, and that it's an interesting world. It's really based, as much as anything else, a nonfiction book is based as much on how you can help promote it and your platform as it is how good the book is. So the reality is you could have this incredible idea for a book, but for the most part, publishers are looking for authors who have an existing platform where they have like a lot of social media followers, or they're already like on television. So you see like guys who like, or like guys, gals, people who are on national TV, newscasters, correspondents, people who write, who are, journalists and stuff. And then obviously your celebrity types, Barack Obama and,
of course,
Prince Harry and, whatever, any things like that. So it's really about your platform as much as anything else. And then you have to write a good book. You have to have a good topic people care about, and that you're an expert in. But it matters as much about what your platform is and how you're going to help promote it as it is to like what the book is about. Yeah. So the beauty of nonfiction, publishing a nonfiction book, is that it's really based on a proposal. So you have an idea for a book, and then you create a book proposal, and you can write like the first couple of chapters of the book,
right?
And then you fill out the whole table of contents. Here's what my book's going to be about, but here's my first couple of chapters, and then here's how I'm going to market it. So here's how many social media followers I have. Here's what, here I have this, Man Space podcast. We reach this number of people every week. We have that. This is our viewership, and this is how engaged they are. And they're all, these are all devoted readers or whatever. And you put that, and then you also have to, say here what your book's about. It's got to be about something that people care about. So if there's other books out there that are of this similar topic that are popular, right? Then you have an opportunity there. And then the other thing is, do you have a means to help promote that book, such as, are you a speaker, or are you, are you a football coach and you go to these, quarterback club meetings every, 15 times a year, and you can sell your books there, or that each quarterback club is going to buy 100 books, right? Yeah. So like those types of things. So that's nonfiction. It's a whole different world. Fiction, it's really all about the story, all about the book. It has almost nothing to do with your platform, and it's got to be a book that people want to read. It's got to be a fiction book. It's got to read. It's got to be a great story, and it's got to fit in, one of the known, the many genres in fiction. Of I'm in the mystery world, mystery thriller, genre, but there's fantasy and romance, and there's all different types of there's historical fiction and literary fiction, and there's book club fiction, and there's all different types of stuff. And so and there it's a little bit more, it's tougher, because you essentially have to have a completed book, right? You got to write a book, have it be good, and then you have to then you have to try to navigate the process of getting it published, which is a pretty big challenge these days.
So when it comes to publishing, excuse me, is it best to look for an actual publisher or try to self-publish when you're in some of these situations?
It's a call that you make. Ultimately, there are some folks out there who've self-published and do very well, and there are some folks who don't. So there are more tools out there now than ever to self-publish, and there's Amazon and Kindle and all that stuff. They have all kinds of programs in place so that you can publish your book. I mean, you can write a book in a couple of days and have it on Amazon in a week. Would be good. Will people buy it? I don't know, but you can. Right now, it's the books that you see in bookstores. Those are books that are published by the big 5 publishing houses primarily, and some independent presses. They're the ones who have the big budgets. They're the ones who pay big advances. They're the ones that have big marketing plans, and those go hand in hand with the novels that you hear about all the time. They typically have marketing budgets behind them. So that now self-publishing is a valid place to go, but most people who are self-publishing are really hoping that they are going to be traditionally published at some point in time.
So how do you get to the point of getting to the big 5, so to speak?
The literary agent world, they're the gatekeepers to the big 5. So if you want to, you can't.
I just can't go up to.
You generally can't take your manuscript and give it to somebody at Simon & Schuster or Random House or Hachette or whatever. They go through the process with literary agents. Now the smaller presses. So my publisher, I don't have an agent actually. My publisher is a smaller press, and they are generally open to submissions from unagented authors, and that's how I got my book deal. I went directly to the publisher.
Wow. So let's just talk about your book, for example, The Bystander.
Yes, sir.
So how much research did you do? Because it is a mystery novel. And before I even ask that question, share with the Manspace Nation, without giving away too much, because we still want them to go out and buy the book and read it for themselves. But share what you can about what the book is about.
Yeah, happy to. So my book is about a television reporter who is he's at the night before the Florida Georgia game. He's at a tailgate party at a local retail retail complex, and doing his thing, interviewing fans and stuff like that. And then there's an active shooter incident happens, and he turns his camera around and he films the active shooter as an armed bystander approaches and kills the active shooter. And that's the setup for the book. So active shooter, armed shooter is killed by an armed bystander, and the video goes viral. But it is not all as it seems, Russ. It is not all as it seems, and the story the story moves from there. And that's the premise for the premise for the book. And it's a good fit for our conversation, because again, it's like the little guy over my shoulder here. Like I'm a big football guy, so I was kind of looking for a setting, and I decided to set it at the Florida Georgia game.
So, as you mentioned, in the Florida Georgia game, because of course that will put it in Jacksonville, and the world's largest cocktail party. How much realism outside of that is into it? Did you go and research the area to get streets and locations and things like that?
So I'm guessing you probably never went to the Florida Georgia football game, because you're not. You'd have no reason to, right? So
I've only seen it on TV.
Yeah. So the first thing is I did my own research, because I've been to the game. I've been to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party when we were allowed to say it. Now they've tried to say you can't call it that anymore. And there was a place in Jacksonville called The Landing, and The Landing is a big retail complex with bars and stuff. And it's since been demolished, and now I'm not sure what's there now. But that was my inspiration. I'm from Miami, and and I didn't want to write a Miami book. I didn't want to. To me, it's there's a couple of guys who are like the Miami guys. Carl Hiaasen. I don't know if you know his writing, but I mean, he's like the Miami, South Florida guy. And I just didn't want to put myself. I didn't want people to try to compare me to him. I didn't want the pressure of being compared to him. Yeah. And he owns the South Florida scene in my mind, the Keys, everything. So I was like, okay, I want to set this someplace else. And I've been to Jacksonville a bunch of times. I've been to the game a bunch of times when I was a student, and then later on in my life, I've been to Jacksonville many times, and that's why I decided to set it there. And also, it was fun for me to, because I wrote this. This is my first novel. I'd never done it before. I just started doing it, and I was like, they always say write about what you know, and I know enough about that area so if anybody who's from there would get it. And I've had people who are from there say, yeah, no, you got it pretty good. And they're like, okay, great. So I'm like, I knew enough. So from that research standpoint. And then there's other aspects of the novel that I've learned, different things, addressing different issues, but they're mostly things that I kind of already knew about a little bit.
Yeah. So how much, I guess from a lot of times when you watch a lot of, Law and Order type TV shows and different cop shows and stuff, a lot of the episodes have some truth built into it from news headlines. How much of that could we feel in your book, that there are some news headlines that are played out?
Without question. So the inspiring incident for my book was a true thing that happened. So in the summer of 2022, there was an incident that happened at a mall in Indiana. So a guy entered a mall in Indiana with an assault rifle and started shooting. And he killed 3 people. But what happened next was truly remarkable. Is there was a young man, his name is Eli Dickin, and Eli Dickin was having lunch in the food court at the mall, and he was carrying his handgun, concealed carry guy. Yeah, he took out his gun and he shot and killed the active shooter.
Wow.
And it was a remarkable thing. And he's a hero. He's like a bona fide hero. Like, we talk about, we throw that word around a lot, like a hero, like I was joking the other day, I'm like, oh yeah, I got the garbage out on time, I'm a hero. It's like, that's not this guy's a hero. This guy saved lives.
Yeah.
And I was just fascinated by that story, and I like read everything I could about that story, and it just sparked so many ideas in my head. And one of them is just really simple, is that, it's like, gosh, why is this guy's a hero? Except, man, how do we get here? Like, why are we, I mean, is that the way it's supposed to be? It's very Wild West, it's very, it's not like what we're sort of expecting the world should be, that we should be having to like defend ourselves in the mall, And so there were lots of, it just, so many ideas came to me, so many things hit me from that incident. And that's what really inspired me to start writing, is I kind of came up with my own, I drew up a bunch of what ifs, based on that story.
Wow. We've had the opportunity to interview a lot of writers over the 6 years that we've been doing the show. And a lot of times I find that within one or two of their characters, there's traces of themselves inside of the character. Can we see the same thing for you, as being one of the character and the mannerisms or things like that? A little piece of yourself in there?
Without question, my protagonist, my novel's written in first person. My protagonist is a television reporter. I'm not a television reporter. I know a lot of television reporters. I've worked with hundreds of journalists during my career. I know lots of reporters and journalists and editors and people, and I know that world, pretty well. As someone who's not in it, meaning like I know it probably as well as you can know it without being in it. And so my main character, he's a fictional character, but a lot of his kind of sensibilities, sense of humor, perspective on things, they're mine. They come from me. They come from me. So, and then everything else is just made up. I mean, there's some people in my life who inspired characters in my book.
Right.
I've generally made them, smarter and more handsome, and all that. So I can't get hassled.
Right. So, within this book, like, when somebody picks it up, what are you hoping that the reader takes away from this book?
Ultimately, it's a piece of entertainment. Ultimately, I want somebody to read it and have fun and be interested and try to figure out where it's going. Keep turning the pages, seeing what's going to happen next, try to solve the mystery, because it's a mystery. It's set up, what this happened and why did it happen, and the main character is trying to first he sort of identifies the mystery, and then he solves the mystery. Right? Has to solve the mystery, or the mystery is revealed. So the main thing is it's a piece of entertainment. That's the main goal. I've touched on a few kind of political issues, but I did not enter these political issues because I wanted to address political issues. I just brought them in because they're interesting and they're controversial, and some of these things make people think, and I like that, and I think that makes for a better story. When you weave in sort of the conflicts that are happening, that happen in the world, that kind of thing.
So, is it safe to say that there is a book 2 on the way?
It absolutely safe to say. So my publisher is a company called Thule Publishing. They're based in California, and they're big on the series. And so I signed an agreement to write 3 books. So
great! Congratulations.
The second book is actually done. I had to turn it in. The first draft I had to turn it in back earlier in the year, back in like March, and so that I've just gone through and it's been through the proofreading phase. It doesn't have a cover yet, but it's already on. It's already available for pre-order on Amazon and all that. And I'm working on the third one, which is
awesome.
Which is due soon. So I got my work cut out for me on the third one. So, but yeah, I'm writing a series, which is fun.
So, we're still going to follow the same TV reporter into the second book, and
correct. The main character stays the same, and there's some evolution, and unless I kill somebody off, you never know.
So how can the Man Space Nation follow you, get more information about you, your social media handles, and be able to find your book?
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about that. So my book is called The Bystander. It's available any online outlet you can imagine, and Amazon, Barnes and Noble. If you buy it on bookshop.org, it benefits local bookshops. If you order a hard copy on bookshop.org, percentage of the sale will go to your local bookshop. So I'm a big proponent of that. And so you can order it at your local bookstore. They won't have it on the shelf, but you can order it from your local bookshop or from your local Barnes and Noble, whatever. And then my website is called byjohndavid.com. So byjohndavid.com, and I have a Substack and a newsletter, and anybody you can sign up to get emails from me and all that if you want, and that has background on me and on my books and on reviews and news and all that stuff and events. I've done some events. I got another one coming up in January, and then my Instagram is by John David. My author page on Facebook is also by John David, and I think my Twitter /X/ whatever it's going to be next is John P. David. Awesome. So I'm pretty easy to find. If you type in John David and the Bystander, you'll find a way to get to my book.
Awesome. One last thing, we got the last word.
And now, the last word.
So, for an aspiring writer who is struggling to get their thoughts to paper, what would you recommend for them?
So there's to a writer, there's fewer things more daunting than a blank piece of paper, which you have to fill. So I always recommend, you gotta start by starting, you gotta do by doing, and even if it stinks, you gotta start and put something on the page. And in the publishing industry, it's a slog, man. I'll be honest with you, it's a slog. It's a lot of work to get your work out into the world. So you just have to really you've got to just be really committed to it, and you just can't give up. If you believe in your work, that's what I always tell people. If you believe in it, you don't give up. I even quoted because of who you guys are, so you probably remember you probably remember Jim Valvano, who was the basketball coach, the coach of North Carolina State. Greatest upset in the history of NCAA basketball, probably.
Yes, of course.
And he famously, he had cancer, and the V Foundation, which is a big ESPN thing. So all your Man Space guys know all about ESPN and V Foundation. And he said very famously in his speech that don't give up, don't ever give up. And that's I put in the acknowledgments in my book. I was like that's what if you believe in your work, don't give up. Don't ever give up. You can do it. I'm proof. You can do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us here. We hate that Les couldn't be here to talk with you as well, because I know he's a big fisherman as well, so I'm sure he would love to trade fishing stories with you. But I do have one last question before we go to break. My wife is also an author. She's released several books in the nonfiction realm. I remember her face when she got her first book back. What was the feeling for you when you got the first book back in hand and you could feel it and see the cover and see your name on it?
I'm rarely speechless, Russ. That's pretty much. I have a video. My wife filmed it when my copies of The Bystander arrived. And I took out I had this very special pocket knife to open the box, and I opened the box and I peeled everything back and I took it out, and I knew what it was going to look like. I mean, I knew what the cover was going to look like and everything else. Was not, but yeah, when I took it out of the box, I was pretty much speechless, which is saying something because I'm generally not speechless. So, but yeah, no, it's an incredible feeling. You know, it's an incredible feeling when you get when you see the first copy, and you know, I got to, you know, I took the first 10 copies out and I numbered them. I like, this is 1 through 10, and I gave number 1 to my wife. I took number 2 for myself. I gave numbers. I didn't do 3 and 4. I did 3 and 3 for my 2 kids. So there's no 4. And then I gave, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to other, people who helped me. It was great. It was like, these are the first ones out of the box. They're special.
Oh, awesome.
It's great.
So awesome. So awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate you spending time here on the Man Space. We definitely got to have you back and talk when the second book is completely out, and we'll talk about that one as well. Man Space Nation, go out there, find the book, get it, read it, review it. Let us know how much you love it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get the book myself and read through it because, I love a good book as well. And Man Space Nation, before we go to break, we got to let you know about our sponsor. Gentlemen, and the brave partners who love them, let's talk about landscaping. No, not your lawn. We're talking about personal property maintenance. Introducing from Manscaped, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the only tool that makes trimming your hedges feel like upgrading your sports car. With precision blades, skin-safe technology, and a light so bright you could land a plane. This thing doesn't just mow, it glides. So say goodbye to nicks, snags, and that terrifying moment when your clipper sounds like it's eating your furniture. Listen, guys, use our code TMSP20 and get 20% off your first order and free shipping. Because if it's free, I'll take 3. So fellas, if you want your front yard to look well presentable, then get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped, because your body deserves curb appeal too. As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. Man Space Nation, have you ever just thought about life? Life itself is a mystery. It's not elegant. Sherlock Holmes with the kind of clues that are dramatic in a reveal. It's more like, where did I put my phone? And why is it in the refrigerator? Some days, the universe feels like it's whispering ancient wisdom. And other days, it feels like it's pointing at us and snickering while we try to figure out which password variation did we use this time. But see, here's the uplifting part. Life's biggest mysteries usually lead us somewhere interesting, eventually. Think about it. We're all stumbling through this grand cosmic escape room with 0 instructions and solving puzzles as we go. What am I supposed to be doing here? Why is my to-do list longer when I go to bed than it was when I woke up this morning? And is my purpose just to take in coffee? And yet, despite the deep confusion, we keep going. We try new things. We fail, we learn, we get back up. Sometimes gracefully, sometimes it's like a baby giraffe on a wax floor, but we're still moving forward. Because the real secrets, life isn't supposed to be solved. It's supposed to be lived. Mystery is what keeps it fun, keeps it curious, and keeps us from becoming the kind of person who knows exactly where their keys are at all times. Yeah, you know who you are. Let's be honest. So embrace the unknown and laugh when things get weird. Keep searching, keep trying, and keep wondering. Because Manspace Nation, in the end, the mystery of life isn't about finding the right answers. It's about enjoying the plot twist. And we always know that there's a plot twist, Manspace Nation. But you guys know what happens every Monday night. The latest episode can be found on WTMSTV.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll get the latest episodes of the Manspace Podcast every Monday at 8 p.m. And then on Thursday nights, it is Throwback Thursdays with back-to-back-to-back-to-back episodes of the Manspace Podcast on WTMSTV.com. And with that said, we want to thank our special guest, Mr. John David. Make sure you go out, get the book, The Bystander. It's available now and coming soon. Matter of fact, go on Amazon and pre-order the book too. So it's there. Search his name. You'll be able to find it, John David, and it's out there on Amazon. Now, Manspace Nation, Les is not here, so I have to say his line. On that note, we're out of here. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Manspace.
Whichever platform you listen to us on, make sure you subscribe and don't miss a show.
Remember to keep up with all the Manspace updates on our website, themanspacepodcast.com.
And you can follow us on Instagram at ManspaceNat1.
Until next time, Manspace Nation, he's Les, I am Russ, and we are out of here.